In a surprising move arranged by prosecutors in Los Angeles and Washington, the authorities in Switzerland arrested film director Roman Polanski last week as he arrived at the Zurich airport, paving the way for his possible extradition to the United States in connection with a 32-year-old sex case. My guest once again is criminal defense lawyer in Los Angeles from the Kraut Law Group, Michael Kraut. He's a former prosecutor and deputy district attorney. Welcome back, Michael.
Thank you. Good morning.
The first question I have here is, why has it taken 32 years to finally start worrying about Roman Polanski?
Well, it appears that it may have been that now you're assuming, or the press is kind of handling this as though it's now being handled. There's been 8 attempts since 1978 in order to apprehend him. Each one has been unsuccessful, so you're not hearing about any of them.
Well, it would sound like, again, though, that for 32 years to go by, there would have been more success in finding a way to get him back to Los Angeles. Is there a timeline somewhere? Is there evidence that authorities actually have been pursuing him in some respect?
Yeah, apparently the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office released 8 instances since 1978 when he left, in which prosecutors attempted to apprehend Polanski. That included contacting the Royal Canadian Mounted Police when they heard he was going to be visiting Canada. The trip never materialized, so they missed him at that point. In '94, apparently he was going to be, they reinstituted the arrest warrant through the federal government here, asking France to extradite him. Because he's a French citizen, they won't extradite one of their citizens to the United States for this type of crime. Therefore, he's been able to walk around France basically with immunity from prosecution.
Do you think a judge will look at that evidence as being enough to continue, or possibly just look at that and say that's just not enough pursuit and let's just dismiss this here?
I don't think the standard is going to be the level of pursuit. I think it's going to be the level of crime, what happened, that it wasn't finished, and that the state has a significant interest in a rape or a unlawful sex with a minor case.
So if you were going to be working with Mr. Polanski here and trying to defend him, what would you be trying to do right now?
Well, first of all, I think that I would do exactly what the PR campaigns are doing and putting tremendous amount of pressure. All of Hollywood and the directors are coming out in support of him, which is odd in that it was a sex case, but when the victim says that she doesn't want it prosecuted and she wants this to be done, I think it gives the green light and the go-ahead to the PR firms to start spinning it. I think the next thing I do is I would look at the Swiss extradition rules. If they're a little bit confusing, it always goes to the benefit of the person in custody, and then they would have to release him. As soon as they release him, he's going to go back to France, and he'll probably remain there for the rest of his life.
Why do you think there is so much support for Mr. Polanski, given the nature of the crime? This is a 13-year-old girl. It sounds like drugs were involved. It sounds like she resisted in one way or another. That doesn't sound good.
I think part of it has to do with the celebrity status of the individual. Much like O.J., who was charged with double murders, received a lot of support, even from the media and specific outlets within the media. Mr. Polanski's getting a lot of support just based upon his creativity and who he is.
Do you think he's become sort of a sympathetic figure because of the murder of Sharon Tate and the baby she was carrying?
I think there is a factor of that, and apparently he never got over that. However, I think it's hard to justify going up to someone's house on Mulholland and raping and drugging a 13-year-old and having sexual intercourse with that person.
How likely do you think it will be that he will be extradited?
I believe that one of 2 things are going to happen. I think that either they're going to complete the extradition, bring him back here, and the case will be concluded fairly quickly because the L.A. County courts have said that there was no jurisdiction to terminate the case unless he was present before them, and he couldn't do it with attorneys. Or the second thing, I believe that they'll find enough political pressure that the extradition warrant will be withdrawn, and lawyers will they'll find an exception in order to make the appearance for him, and the case will be dismissed. But the district attorney's office for L.A. will still come out in a favorable light as that they followed through on it, even though the case ended.
What's the worst case scenario for him?
Worst case scenario is he fights extradition, stays in custody. Extradition can go on in some cases for months to up to a year, and he has to wait. It can't be released on bond or bail because it's an extradition warrant pending. The outcome is brought back here and then sentenced to prison.
And you said that the fact that the victim really has asked that the charges be dismissed really has no bearing on the case or extradition?
Legally, it has no bearing on the case. The way it's reviewed by law enforcement, I think, has an effect. But legally, much like domestic violence cases, sex cases, even consenting minors, they are not given the say of whether or not somebody's prosecuted. That is merely in the eyes of the district attorney's office.
Michael Kraut is managing attorney at the Kraut Law Group in Los Angeles. He is a former prosecutor and a deputy district attorney. He is a criminal defense expert. Michael, as always, we appreciate you taking the time today.
Thank you very much.
This is Scott Drake, and you're watching the Legal Broadcast Network.